Yo, welcome back to KAMMA. I'm Khalil Deal,
I'm at Dio.
and we are KAMMA back for 2025. About to talk about UFC Fight Night Vegas 101. This is going to be the rematch of Amanda Ribas versus Mackenzie Dern, part 2 here. And we're going to get into it right now, talking about our early predictions for the prelims. So the first fight we got is Joe Solecki against Nurulo Aliev, then Victoria Dudakova against Fatima Klein, Magomed Gadziasulov against Bruno Lopez, Ernesta Karakaite against Nicole Kalari, Preston Parsons against Jacoby Smith, Thiago Moises against Trey Ogden, Marco Tullio against Ihor Potieria, and Jose Johnson against Felipe Bunez. That is the entire card. There has been a change in the first fight. We got Joe Solecki versus Nurulo Aliev. Originally, this fight was supposed to be against Yanel Ashmouz and Nurulo Aliev. It got changed. We got on short notice Joe Solecki. Hit us off, Andy O, for 2025. Who you got?
Yes, time to have a crack in New Year. Okay, so in this fight, I don't like Selecki's chances coming in short notice here. I think Aliev is a better striker for sure. Most people are better strikers than Joe Solecki. I think he has more power, but I also think he's a better wrestler and is going to be able to take Selecki's down. Selecki has good BJJ, so Aliev has to be careful with that. But I think over the course of the fight, Selecki's going to try and like grab onto a limb or something, and Aliev's gonna catch him at some point and just start wailing away blows. And if not, I think it's going to be a decision for Aliev. What about you, Real Deal?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely on the bandwagon here for Nurulo Aliev. They call this guy the smaller Khabib. He's like identical to Khabib Nurmagomedov. They're both from the same place.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in terms of his skill level, but good for him.
Yeah, a lot of people say that they look alike even. He's got the same kind of fighting style as Khabib. Very, very good grappler. Very, very good on the ground. That's basically what he does, is that he keeps the fights on the ground, gets takedowns, and controls you on the ground. That's the type of game that he has. Joe Solecki, however, is no slouch on the ground either. This is a guy here who has got 13 wins and 5 losses. Out of those 13 wins, he has 8 submissions. So he is a very good submission specialist there. He does have jiu-jitsu, but he's not as good of a grappler as Nurulo Aliev. So
No.
even if he gets Nurulo on the ground, Solecki will have to he'll try to throw up submissions, but Nurulo is just too good on the ground. He'll escape those subs attempts, and he'll reverse and get control himself there.
Yeah, as I thought it would go, I can see Selecki just trying to grab at a limb, sometimes desperately, and we've seen Selecki grab at limbs before and get slammed on his head, right? So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Aliev's going to be smart enough to stay out of those submission
yeah.
positions.
Coming on short notice, you gotta when you're fighting a guy like Nurulo Aliev, you need a full fight camp there. This guy's coming in on short notice, coming off of two losses in a row against Grant Dawson and Drakkar Klose. Not looking very good. Fought some low-level fighters like Alex De Silva, who he beat, and Carl Deaton. And he lost to Jared Gordon, too, by split decision. So I don't really like his chances of beating a guy like Nurulo Aliev. I got Nurulo Aliev winning by decision. Now, most of his fights are by decision. He did get a knockout, though, in the Contender Series. But I'll say he wins by decision or KO in this one here. All right, so we're in agreement with the first fight. Let's move on up to the next fight here. We got Victoria Dudakova against Fatima Klein. Now, for this one here, man, I was thinking about, going for Victoria Dudakova a couple of times. I thought
Think,
about it.
thinking long and hard.
Sorry.
Thinking long and hard.
But then I remembered that, yes, I remember the fight against Sam Hughes, man. And I actually had a play on Victoria Dudakova in that one.
And
And
you know who had a huge play on the Salmonator, baby, in that one.
yeah, I know you got that one right. I got it wrong. I was very upset because it was a very close split decision. But what happened was Victoria Dudakova gassed out in that fight. I don't like her gas tank. Fatima Klein is very, very good. She's got very good cardio, and she is just really, really also a very good grappler and very good on the ground. Fatima Klein, out of her 6 wins there, she has 2 knockouts, 1 submission, 3 decisions, so she's very well rounded. I could see her being the one that's going to be the better striker in this one. I think that she's going to also get some takedowns, and she'll be able to maybe even lock in a submission or even knock out Dudakova when Dudakova gets tired and starts gassing. So I'm going to go with Fatima Klein. The line is super wide. We'll talk about the betting there because Victoria Dudakova, she could be worth a sprinkle. But I'm going to pick Fatima Klein to win by decision or KO in this one.
No, in this one here, man, it's Fatima Klein. Her skills are as a striker. I'm expecting a lot of nice high kicks on Dudakova, especially when Dudakova starts to get gassed and her arms begin to drop. Because Dudakova, man, I know she has a few knockouts there, but they're against bottom of the barrel girls coming up. And her game is really her takedowns. So she's going to try and work those takedowns, I think, against Fatima Klein. And Klein has had a little experience now dealing with monster takedown girls like Jasmine Judah Vicious, who she fought last time, who I think is way better than Dudakova. And Fatima Klein's a better striker than Judah Vicious. So yeah, I'm looking at a knockout or decision for Fatima Klein. But really, a lot of it has to do with Dudakova's gas tank. I was not impressed at all.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like I said, the gas tank is very worrisome. But she's also fairly decent, Dudakova there. That's why we'll talk about the betting on Friday. Might be worth a sprinkle. All right, so we're in agreement. We're both going for Fatima Klein there. Let's move on up to the next fight here. We got Magomed Gadziasulov versus Bruno Lopez. For this one here, this is a tricky one. I was going back and forth on this one here.
Yeah, well, this not as tricky, man, because looking more into it, I really got to go with Godzilla Zhulov here because I think he does have the better kicks. I know I often bring up the kicks, but I think they'll really work here against Lopez. And I do think he's a better grappler. The thing that Lopez is probably better at is, I would say, maybe power. And he can throw a decent body shot because I think he did get his last knockout win coming off a body shot, or it's the body shot that led to that knockout. But either way, I think Godzillazov is better at distance, and he's going to keep it that way, use some kicks, and tire out Lopez here for the decision win or a knockout.
Yeah, Bruno Lopez is making his UFC debut as well. Coming off the Contender Series there, he had a good fight against Mikhail Sazinani. He knocked him out there, punches to the body, like you said.
That was it. That was the body shot. Yeah.
But I really like Magomed Gadziasulov as well in this one here. Like you said, I definitely think he's the better grappler of the two. Definitely better on the ground. That's the type of game that he has, as well. He's one of these guys that's got very good takedowns and very good ground game. He also fought a monster in Bredson Ribeiro. We saw how good Bredson Ribeiro is, and he ended up winning a majority decision on him. He took him down in that fight often, had control time, stayed on top of him the majority of the fight. And so I like the fact that Bredson Ribeiro is a big, tough dude, kind of like Bruno Lopez, and he was able to beat him. So I think he can take out Bruno Lopez here. Most of the fights that this guy wins, though, he's not a like a hard puncher or anything like that. He has a couple of knockouts in the Eagle FC when he fought some very low level competitors, but most of his fights are by decision that he wins. So I'm going to take him to win by decision or knockout, mostly decision though for Magomed here. All right, so that's starting off the new year good. We're in agreement with all the first 3 fights of the prelims. Let's move on up to the next one here. We got Ernesta Karakaite and Nicole Cagliari. All right, so who do you got in this one here, Andio?
I got to stick with Karakati here. While I do like her height and reach advantage, she's going to be like 9 inches taller, I think. I don't think she's going to be particularly good at using it, but I think it's going to be good enough to keep Cagliari away. I'm thinking this is more of a grappler striker matchup. And I think Cagliari is going to be trying to go for those submissions, trying to get her down, trying to grab onto something. But I think Karakani's striking is going to be good enough. I think her reach is going to be good enough to keep her away for the most part. And yeah, so give me Karakani by decision.
Yeah, this one is a little bit tricky because Nicole Cagliari is very, very good. She's a finisher from coming out of Brazil. She is a going to make her UFC debut, but in women's fighting, man, you gotta go with the height and reach advantage. It does make a big difference in women's fights. We're talking a 6-inch height advantage here for Ernesta Karakaite, and an astonishing.
I hope you just didn't jinx that whole pick.
No, no, no. There's a good 9-inch reach advantage as well here. 62 inches for Cagliari, 71 for Karakaide. We're talking a 9-inch reach advantage here. Ernesta Karakaide, all she has to really do in this fight is not get taken down, keep a distance, just get her striking and leg kicks going, strike her from a distance, dance around a bit, avoid the takedowns, land some very good hard punches and some very good kicks, and she could win this fight just based on volume and just based on piecing her up on the feet. Nicole Cagliari is better on the ground. She's a submission specialist and a knockout artist. She's more of a finisher. All of her 8 wins, they come by 5 knockouts and 3 submissions. We'll talk about the betting. I really think the KO sub prop was a really good one for Nicole Cagliari because, like I said, all of her wins have been by finish. Okay, she's got
Yeah, against like Scrubness though.
5 knockouts, 3 submissions. I know it's against the.
Not that Caracante is much better, but
Yeah, well, at least Caracante, she fought Dion Barbosa, and it went to a decision there. She did lose that one, but she did look pretty decent in that fight. But they call her heavy-handed because she does have very good punching, very good strikes. And like I said, the height and reach advantage, man, you can't let that slide. It's something to look at there. So I'm going to pick Karakaite to win by knockout or decision. But like I said, when we talked about the betting on Friday, the KO sub prop for Nicole Cagliari might be very good there as a dog play. All right, so we're in agreement again. Nice. Let's move on up to the next fight here. We got Preston Parsons against Jacoby Smith. Now, for this one here, this is a Jacoby Smith coming in on a short notice here. Man, I have to go with Jacoby Smith. This guy is an athlete. He is a amazing, amazing wrestler coming out of American Kickboxing Academy and Fortis MMA. Preston Parsons, we do know he's also got some skills on the ground, but he's just not as good of a wrestler as Jacoby Smith. Preston Parsons is a very good fighter. He's got submissions. He's more of a submission guy. If you look at his 11 wins, out of those 11 wins there, he's got 9 submissions. So I just have to mention this. It's very important. Preston Parsons, the submission prop might be good for the betting, but I still think Jacoby Smith is going to win this one. Preston Parsons, he's trading losses and wins. He loses, he wins, he loses, he wins, he loses. He's not looking that great. Coming off a loss to Oban Elliott, who was dominating him in that fight. And he did beat Matthew Schemmelsberger, which was impressive, though. But he lost to Trevin Giles. He lost to Daniel Rodriguez by knockout. Jacoby Smith is very good at ground and pound, so if he takes him down, he tends to stay on top, get control time, and just punch the shit out of the person once he gets them on the ground and gets on top. So I'm going to go with Jacoby Smith to win this one by knockout. I think that he really takes down Preston Parsons and knocks him out. The wrestling is going to be too much for him.
yeah. Also, I like that Smith does some crafty things on the feet, man. He's not afraid of trying stuff. He's very intense, which I also like. And yeah, he is more of a wrestler, so his plan is to get the guy down and hammer him out. Preston Parsons, I don't think he's that great, but he knows how to stay in a fight. He's definitely not the wrestler than Jacoby Smith is, but his jiu-jitsu is probably better. I predict this fight actually to be pretty close for as long as it lasts, and I like Jacoby Smith for the knockout also, but I wouldn't be surprised at a decision either if Parsons happens to like stay in there. And also because Jacoby Smith may get tired. Like we don't know how good his gas tank is completely yet, but I suspect it's pretty much okay. So
Yeah.
let's go with Jacoby Smith by knockout.
Nice, man. This fight originally was supposed to be Preston Parsons versus Andreas Gustafsson. Gustafsson was the one that withdrew out of this fight, and Jacoby Smith was just waiting around to get his UFC debut. This guy's been fighting. He's in incredible shape, very good athlete, and I think he's the truth, man. I think he's really going to put the pressure on Preston Parsons. Take him.
This is a good first opponent for him, I think.
Yeah, and he's a better wrestler than him. Preston Parsons is not a very solid striker. He doesn't really punch very hard. He's more of a submission guy. So, yeah, I definitely like Jacoby Smith in this one. Again, we're in agreement in all of the fights so far. Looking good. All right, let's move on up to the next one here. We got Thiago Moises against Trey Ogden here. Who do you got here, Andio?
All right, here I'm just going to say that I think Moises is just a little better than Trey Ogden. Moises used to be ranked, and he's younger, and he still has ambitions. I don't think Trey Ogden's going to get any better. I don't think Trey Ogden's going to get much worse. I think Ogden's well-rounded, but I don't think his jiu-jitsu is as good as Moises. Moises' striking is still but it's getting better little by little. But what I do predict is I do see Moises at some point getting Ogden's back, man, and subbing him out. I think this is a pretty good matchup for Moises, and he's lucky to have gotten this fight because I think he will. Yeah, give me Moises by sub for sure.
Man, this is the first fight we're going to be in disagreement, unfortunately, man. I'm going with Trey Ogden in this one.
He's just too mediocre, man.
Samurai. The reason for this is because Trey Ogden has been on a tear lately. If you saw the last fight against Loic Razabov, he looked amazing in that fight. He was getting a lot of takedowns. He was good on the feet. He's got some very good punches, some very good striking. I think he's a better striker than Thiago Moises personally. Thiago Moises' jiu-jitsu is a little bit better for sure. Out of his 18 wins, we can see that Thiago Moises has 8 subs and 4 knockouts, 6 decisions. So he does have some good jiu-jitsu.
But he's also good defensively with his jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah. Trey Ogden is no slouch either, though. He has also 11 submissions, so he's also a very good submission specialist. I think that his jiu-jitsu is also on point, so they can hang together in the grappling department, in the submissions department. So if they can both grapple very well and they both have good submissions, who's the better striker of the two? I got to go Trey Ogden.
I got to go with Moises, slightly better everywhere.
I don't know, man. The last fight, he didn't look that good against Ludovic Klein, but Ludovic Klein is very good. I got to give you that. But he did also lose to Benoit Saint Denis. He does lose to guys who are very, very high level when it comes to guys who can grapple and strike very well. And I think Trey Ogden is up there.
You know, you mentioned that. It just struck a thought here. I think the best guys against Moises are the ones that are really aggressive against him.
That's it. Yeah.
Do you find Ogden really aggressive? No.
He's been aggressive, I gotta say, man. Like I said, it's going to be a close one here. I think that Trey Ogden can squeak out a decision win here, just based on the fact that I think that he's going to be a little bit more active than Thiago Moises. We've seen Moises start off a little slow, and I like the 2-inch height advantage and 2-inch reach, the 1.5-inch reach advantage there that he's going to have. He's just been looking really good, the Trey Ogden lately. And I didn't like the loss that he took Moises to Ludovic Klein in that last fight. So I'm going to go Trey Ogden to squeak out a decision win over Moises. But it's very close. It's very close in this one here. All right. So we are in disagreement in the first fight so far of the prelims. Let's move on to the next fight here. We got Marco Tulio against Ihor Potieria. Man, honestly, man, I don't know what to say, man. I'm so tired of seeing Ihor Potieria in these cards, man. He's always there. When are they going to get this guy out of here, man? The guy's got 4 losses out of his last 5 fights. Looked absolutely terrible against Cesar Almeida in that last fight.
He got poked in the eye 4 times.
That was a bit of a weird one there. He did get subbed by Michel Pereira, though, the fight before that with the guillotine choke. I mean, he lost to Rodolfo Bellato. He got knocked out. Got knocked out by Carlos Ulberg. His only win out of his last 5 fights was against Robert Burchak, who's really not that great. Marco Tulio, this guy has been on a tear. He's the truth, man. This guy is a really
truth
prospect. We're going to see this guy come out here and go nuts. This guy is very, very powerful. He did a really good job in the Contender Series. He knocked out Matthew Duclos, and he's been knocking out people in the LFA. The guy's a knockout guy. He's got extreme power coming out of Brazil, Sao Paulo. He fights with Chuto Box, Chuto Box Diego Lima, a very good fight camp there. They got a lot of very, very tough guys in that camp. I like Marco Tulio to get the knockout in Porteria. We've seen this guy get knocked out before. I mean, the guy's got, how many times has he lost by knockout? Out of his 7 losses, man, the guy's been knocked out 2 times. Sorry, he's been knocked out 4 times, Poteria, out of his 7 losses. So, I mean,
I think
I could see Tulio knocking him out.
I think he's been very unlucky a lot of times, Pateria. I am going to roll with the dog in this one. I don't think Tulio's the for real guy here. I think Tulio may be a bit more of a foolio because I think, yeah, I think, yeah, sure, he's knocked a few guys out, but he fought a guy like not too long ago that was like 10-49 or something like that. You know, he hasn't been really fighting the best guys. What Pateri has to do, he's got to implement a little grappling and show off some nice fast combos that I'm telling you he would have pieced up Pereira with before he got, hit with Pereira by that illegal knee as he did that flip to get him in that sub. That's how Pereira got that position because of that illegal knee. I'm not saying he would have won the fight. He wouldn't have won the fight on the ground. But Pereira was getting ready to piece him up on the feet. Not only that, he just has to worry about this guy's Tulio's aggressiveness, his wildness, and it's also his first fight. So I'm predicting he's gonna gas. We've seen Pateria take a bit of a beating. We've seen him last pretty long. So I predict either a knockout or a decision for Pateria here. Go with the dog.
I will say this though, he might be worth a sprinkle when we talk about betting there, but I got to go with Marco Tulio. This prospect is looking really good, and like I said, I like his power. I think he's just going to be too strong, and I think he's going to knock out Pateria. Pateria's chin is just suspect. I can't put chalk on a guy that's lost 4 out of his last 5 fights, man. I just can't do it. All right. So we're in disagreement with this one here. Let's move on up to the main event of the prelims here. We got Jose Johnson against Felipe Bunez. Who's this one here?
This one was tough for me until I looked into it a little more. I would say I'm going to have to go with Joe Johnson here because he's younger. He does have the height advantage, but the reach is the same. I thought he would have a reach advantage, but he really doesn't. But I think his striking's better. I think Bunz in this one is more of a grappler, right? So we've seen Jose Johnson against grapplers before, and he's done pretty well against them. And yeah, I don't think either of these guys are that special. I'm not going to spend too long on this. Jose Johnson's got to just move around, keep away from Bunz's grappling, and get a decision in the end. That's what I think.
Yeah, I got to go with Jose Johnson as well, man. Lobo Solitario here. This guy is just huge for the division. I can't believe he's so tall at 6 foot and weighing at 126 pounds. It's absolutely insane. But the guy is going to be towering over Felipe Bunez, man. Like you said, he's younger, 29 years old. It's a significant age difference there, 6 years age difference. Also, he's going to have a significant height advantage here. We're talking 5-inch height advantage. That's a lot. And he's got some long limbs. He's very lanky. He's got good kicks, good striking as well. But the surprising thing about Jose Johnson is that he also has some jiu-jitsu. This guy is no slouch on the ground at all. He does have 3 submissions and 8 knockouts out of his wins. 5 are by decision as well, but he does have submission skills. So he is also able to deal with Felipe Bunez if he gets taken down, if he's on the ground with him at some point in this fight. He's going to be able to hold his own on the ground. He's very squirmy on the ground, very, very good, and he'll get out of any bad positions. So I like Jose Johnson to win this one by knockout or submission. I think he finishes Felipe Bunez. Felipe Bunez is not bad, but he did lose by knockout to Joshua Van, who Joshua Van was so much shorter and smaller than Felipe Bunez, and he managed to knock him out. I think Jose Johnson, being the bigger guy and also a good striker and knockout power, I think he knocks out Felipe Bunez as well. So there you have it, folks. Our early predictions for the prelims. Only disagreeing, me and Andy-O, on 2 fights in this one. Stay tuned for the main card early predictions coming up next. Happy New Year, everyone. KAMMA. Peace out.